Bulletcast for life.
Welcome everybody to another edition of Under the Radar. My name is Brandon Tanguma, and it's been a while. It's been about 2 weeks since the last episode of Under the Radar. Had spring break, had some scheduling conflicts that affected that I couldn't do it last week, so I decided we're going to do it this week. We're going to have a ginormous episode of Under the Radar. It is Thursday as of recording. It's a little later than I normally record it, both in terms of time and in terms of what day I record it. But we're going to go over the last 3 weeks of NXT television. Not a whole lot actually happened on NXT television in terms of a lot of happenings. There were really big happenings, but just not a lot of things in terms of number of things happening. So we can get through that pretty quickly, as well as a pretty in-depth look, as much as I can, cover all the different events that are going on in New York this weekend for WrestleMania weekend. We're just going to jump into it. If you haven't already, I definitely recommend you to follow the Bulletcast Instagram. It is the Bulletcast on Instagram, and we posted a photo this morning. Pretty much a comprehensive schedule of every single major show going on WrestleMania weekend this week. Obviously, there are going to be some shows that slip through the cracks, but just looking at it, I think there's well over 40 shows that are going on this weekend. So I'm just going to kind of go over what I'm looking forward to, some other big notable match or some big shows that are going on, and just pick and choose. It can be a lot. There's packages for GCW where you can pay $100. And you get, like 6 or 7, 8 shows. It's a whole bunch of stuff. So right now, I'm just going to kind of tell you what I'm going to watch this weekend. And then after that, just kind of go through all the other different shows and kind of try to lead you and maybe I'll help you determine which shows you're going to be watching. Most of these shows are all going to be on Fight TV. So you can order them. I believe everything's like about $15 per show. Obviously, the G1 Supercard show is going to be a little more expensive. I believe it's $40, but I highly recommend you go get New Japan World. I believe they are streaming it live. I hope they are, because that's what I'm banking on, and it's about $10, give or take. It's in yen, so it's always kind of fluctuating, but around $10, so even cheaper than what the WWE Network costs you. It'll give you that one show. You can cancel it. It can be a little cumbersome sometimes because it's international, and you can have to do PayPal, but then you have to cancel it later through PayPal. It can be a hassle. That's why I just kind of hold on to it. I never cancel it because it can be cumbersome to do so. So today, on Thursday, April 4th, I have already ordered Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. I've watched a little bit so far. I saw JR Kratos versus Simon Grimm, who is formerly known as Simon Gotch. I was actually very surprised to see those two men wrestling. I didn't actually put 2 and 2 together that Grimm was Gotch at the time, because I kind of jumped in halfway through the match and I heard the name and didn't really put 2 and 2 together because he didn't have the mustache. He didn't have that famous Simon Gotch mustache, but a good hard-hitting match from what I saw. If you don't know, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport is a sequel to Matt Riddle's Bloodsport from last year. I watched that. Very good show. It's a mixture of MMA, shoot fighting with pro wrestling. There is no ropes on the ring. It is a traditional wrestling ring, but they take down all the ropes. And it's definitely, catch wrestling. I believe there's no pinfalls. It's only submissions and knockouts is what counts as a finish. And last year, the main event was Matt Riddle versus Minoru Suzuki, which I enjoyed immensely. And this year's main event is going to be Josh Barnett, who has wrestled before in New Japan, as well as other promotions, I believe. But he's well known in UFC and the MMA world. He is going to be facing off against Minoru Suzuki, so that should be another hard-hitting classic. And Frank Mir, a former UFC heavyweight champion, someone who Brock Lesnar had his early UFC feud with when he debuted into the UFC. He is going to be making his pro wrestling debut at this show, so that should be fun to see. There's Evolve. Evolve took place earlier on in the day. And the other show that I'm definitely going to be watching, I've already ordered this, $15, is WrestleCon. So WrestleCon, there's about 3 main companies running a lot of shows going on, and that's WrestleCon, GCW, which is the whatchamacallit. GCW is basically what Josh Barnett's Bloodsport is. There's some other stuff going on, Joey Janela's Spring Break, and the MLW crew. Those are kind of the three big overarching independent groups that are running a majority of these shows. So WrestleCon today on Thursday is another show that I'm definitely going to be watching. And the main event, the show that the reasoning why I'm going to be ordering this and watching this is because the main event of the WrestleCon Super Show on Thursday is Bandito versus Will Ospreay. And if that doesn't get you salivating, it should. Because Bandito, we've talked about him on the Bullet Cast and on Under the Radar multiple times. He was in the main event of All In. Obviously, they had time constraints, so they had some technical difficulties to where they couldn't have the fantastic match that they wanted to. But Bandito, he signed to ROH. He should be a big deal. He's going to be on this G1 Supercard show as well. So maybe not as big. Maybe it's not going to be a fantastic match as it could be. Because the thing with this WrestleMania weekend is there's just so many shows, and a lot of these talents are kind of on maybe even 2 to 3 shows in one day. And you have to kind of pick and choose, and that's kind of the way I'm going at it. I'm just kind of picking and choosing what I think is going to be like the wrestlers' most important shows, because obviously they can't just go balls to the wall the entire time. So for the most part, I'm not going to order every single show and watch it. I mean, last year I ordered the GCW $100 thing. I watched, I wouldn't say most of it, but I watched a lot of it. And it just can be kind of overwhelming at times, and is a lot of money, to be honest with you. So my strategy right now is just kind of picking out the shows that I think are going to be fun, that I'm going to enjoy. And then after the fact, if there's a lot of buzz going off on one show or another, then I might order later. Maybe spoiler alerts and stuff like that might be a little hard to stay away from. But anyways, going back to the WrestleCon show, that should be fun as well. They're doing another show on Friday, which is the US versus the World. And the main show, or the main match on that show, if I can pull it up real quick. I have it here. We have the US versus the World. Let's see if I can click on this and I can kind of get like a full comprehensive card going on. So we have the US versus the World. So as you can see, or as you can understand, is it's going to be US wrestlers going up against world wrestlers from around the world. So the top match that everyone's going to be talking about right now is Brian Cage going up against Masato Tanaka, and people are kind of comparing this to the match that Tanaka had against Mike Awesome back in ECW. Mike Awesome, he was a big muscular dude. It was a fantastic match that they had over 20 years ago. And so people are putting 2 and 2 together that maybe this could be another match. And I mean, this show, Brian Cage and Tanaka, 2 guys that are really good wrestlers. Tanaka definitely passed his prime, but let's see what he can do on this one show. Saying that, as I said earlier, maybe this is Tanaka's biggest show that he's doing. Brian Cage's biggest show that he might be doing. He's also in the TNA show, Impact show as well, I believe. So the other matches that are on the show, MJF going against Ethan Page. We have Sammy Guevara going up against Puma King, the Radicals, and then Dragon Gate's Red. But that one, I believe, is not going to take place because, unfortunately, on these WrestleCon shows and other shows going on WrestleMania weekend, is Dragon Gate's wrestlers were unable to obtain visas. So some of the bigger names, obviously, there's Pac, formerly known as Neville, is not going to be on these shows. So there's some Dragon Gate people who are not going to be on these shows. Sad to see. But moving along, we have the Joey Ryan Penis Party going on Friday. That's maybe kind of piggybacking off of the Joey Janela Spring Break, which I watched last year, and I thought that was fantastic. I mean, I've talked about it so many times, the Walter versus PCO match at last year's Spring Break, and that match was fantastic. I'm not super excited for the Penis Party show. I'm probably not going to watch it unless it's like, some fantastic match, and if there's some gimmick that happens, it's probably going to be on the internet that I can watch for free. Joey Janela Spring Break, there are going to be 2 parts on this show. So there is going to be a Friday show and a Saturday show. The Saturday show is at midnight in New York City. The first part is on Friday. That's going to be at 8 o'clock. The second part is going to be at midnight on Saturday. So Joey Janela's Spring Break has kind of got a cult following And there's going to be some serious wrestling. Also, there's going to be some goofy wrestling. So I think that one strikes a better chord than the Penis Party show. If I were to pick one, I'm not exactly sure the card of either one. But, I mean, it should be fun. As I said, I'm probably just going to wait it out and maybe see how my bank account's doing. Because StarCast is draining my bank account, and now we have all these different shows going on. And, of course, on Friday, we have NXT TakeOver New York, which we're going to talk about in a little bit when I go over all the NXT shows. We have WWN is running their super show as well. DDT is a show that I'm going to definitely try to stake out and see how good that show is. Let's see, when is that show? I believe that DDT show is today on Thursday, unless I'm an idiot and don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But DDT is also one of those shows. It's a Japanese promotion where Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi got their starts. Kind of a goofier promotion, but there is some good wrestling on that show. Definitely a show where it's going to be, for those DDT people, it's going to be one of the biggest shows, if not the biggest show that they're going to wrestle on during the weekend. So that should be one to check out. One of the ones that I might not order personally, but one I would recommend if just going in blind. If you don't know what DDT is, it's going to be a good kind of taste of what that promotion does. So yeah, I mean, MLW's doing stuff, CZW's also doing a show on Saturday. Just so much wrestling going on. And we have the G1 Supercard on Saturday, the big ROH New Japan joint show. So we've been talking about this for a while. Definitely going to try to catch this one live. If I would to put it in order, I think NXT TakeOver New York, I said on the Bulletcast, I'm most excited for this match, or this show, on the in the whole WrestleMania weekend. I think this could honestly be the best TakeOver show in the history of TakeOver, both on paper and actual in the ring after the fact. So we've already gone through the NXT TakeOver stuff on the Bulletcast. I might go over some more little things going over in the TV show rundown, but going over to the G1 Supercard show. So let's just jump into it. I ran down most of the card a few weeks ago. There has been some changes to it, so let's just jump right into it. So we have a 6-woman tag team match. We have I'm going to butcher this name, Kajutsu, Jenny Rose, and Hasuki versus Hana Kimura, Stella Gray, and Sumi Sakai. Honestly, don't know a whole lot about the Women of Honor, so that should be an okay match. We have the Honor Rumble, which is kind of like the Andre the Giant Battle Royal and the Women's Battle Royal. Just going to have a bunch of people get on the card so they can say they wrestled at WrestleMania. And here we go, we're going to jump off into these good matches. We have the Will Ospreay, the never openweight champion, against Jeff Cobb, who is the ROH champion. Winner take all, title for title. I mean, I've already talked a lot about this match. I like both these guys. It should be a fantastic match. Maybe Will Ospreay incorporating more power moves into his arsenal, but definitely going to be overmatched against Jeff Cobb. So maybe Will Ospreay is going to pull out some big high-flying moves to take him down. So we have Rush going up against Dalton Castle in a singles match. I've talked about that. Dalton Castle, maybe not the man he used to be. Unfortunately, he's had some back injuries. And Rush, one of those guys on the rise, definitely maybe like what Bandito was last year. Rush can be that guy this year. So now we have Maya Iwatani going up against Kelly Klein for the Women of Honor Championship. I don't know a whole lot about it. I think I know who Killer Kelly is. I think I've heard about her a wee bit, so hopefully she wins. But we have Bully Ray, who originally it was supposed to be kind of an open challenge. Juice Robinson accepted the challenge, and I've been listening to some people, and my boy Todd Martin over on PW Torch speculated that this was going to be a swerve, that Juice Robinson might answer the challenge, but maybe they're going to get somebody else out there. Who knows? I mean, Juice Robinson is over. Bully Ray's a great heel. He is in New York, so he might get a little more favorable reaction than he normally does. So, I'm going to stay tuned to find that out. So, we have the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship being defended in a three-way match. We have Taiji Ishimori versus Dragon Lee and Bandito. This match should be absolutely insane. Fun spot fest, but I'm pretty sure Ishimori is going to walk away with the championship here. But keep your eyes on that. Should be a fantastic match. So next up, we have a winner-take-all, another one. A lot of winner-take-all matches this weekend at WrestleMania. We have a four-way tag team match for both the IWGP Tag Team and the ROH World Tag Team Championships. So we have the Guerrillas of Destiny going up against Villain Enterprises, which is PCO and Brody King, going up against Los Ingobernables de Japón, which is Evil and Sonata, going up against the Briscoe brothers, Jay Briscoe and Mark Briscoe. I don't know why I didn't say the names of the Guerrilla of Destiny. If you don't know, they are Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. So there is obviously winner-take-all match. So I don't know what they're going to be doing. Are you just going to give it to a New Japan team, or are you going to give it to an ROH team? I don't exactly know. Villain Enterprises has been getting a little bit of a push lately. Marty Scurll, rumor has it that he's going to be gone. He's going to be going to AEW probably. So going forward with Villain Enterprises, how are they going to handle the breakup? How are they going to handle PCO and Brody King? But if I were to pick a team, I would say my money will be on the Guerrillas of Destiny retaining the IWGP Championships and obtaining the ROH Championships. Next up, we have Zack Sabre Jr. going up against Hiroshi Tanahashi for the British Heavyweight Championship. Tanahashi has kind of been wanting to wrestle at Madison Square Garden, and this should be a big deal to him, and I think you should just give him the win. He's a big deal. He's one of the top guys in New Japan. He's going to be beloved. Yes, Zack Sabre Jr. will be beloved as well, but I think just giving Hiroshi Tanahashi this victory here should be a nice little thing for the crowd. So, next up, we have the IWGP Intercontinental Championship with Tetsuya Naito going up against Kota Ibushi. As you would think, this match should be absolutely insane if they want to, and I'm pretty sure they want to. It's going to be fun to see what the crowd reaction is going to be like. Kota Ibushi going up against Naito. I think Naito will get the more favorable reaction, but they're definitely going to get both these guys chanted. Both people are going to be super over. If I were to pick one, Naito's whole mission right now is he wants to be Intercontinental and Heavyweight Champion. So if he wants to be that, he has to keep holding on to that title. I think Naito will win, and he will retain. I think Ibushi will go on to maybe be the G1 winner, and maybe we get Ibushi. Maybe we get this match at Wrestle Kingdom for the championship. Who knows? For both championships. So then next up we have the three-way ladder match for the ROH World Championship. Jay Lethal, the champion, defending against Marty Scurll and Matt Taven. This match, if it is sandwiched in between Naito, Ibushi, and Jay White and Okada, this match is going to probably die a horrible death, because I think the crowd, as much as they might be into ROH stuff and they're going to be into Marty, and Marty's going to be over like Rover, I think they're more excited to see the New Japan talent. I think New Japan is by far more over than ROH is at this point. Jay Lethal and Matt Taven, they're good wrestlers, not exactly, top tier independent main event level talent compared to, obviously New Japan's not independent, but Jay White, Okada, Ibushi, Naito, even Zack Sabre Jr. and Tanahashi, I would say those guys are all a level above Jay Lethal and Matt Taven. Honestly, I would say Marty Scurll as well. People love Marty Scurll. But I think for this match to succeed, it might have to be kind of more in the middle of the card, or it can kind of be in that WrestleMania, first, the WrestleMania has their three main events that they kind of stagger out over the 3-hour period, where it's what I'm talking about. So if for ego sense or for political sense, this match is probably going to be going on late, just because ROH wants, because as I said, these last 3-4 matches, Zack Sabre Jr., Tanahashi, Naito, Ibushi, Jay White, and Okada, those matches are all going to be late on the show, if not, the final 3 matches of the show. And that's all, for the most part, New Japan guys. So I think ROH is probably going to want to have guys, their ROH match, at least final 2 or 3 match of the show. And I'm going to say Jay Lethal retains. I talked about Marty Scurll leaving. I don't think Marty Scurll's going to win the championship, because I think there was going to be another title change, and that is a Jay White versus Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. People are speculating that Okada is going to win, and I'm gonna agree with him. I think Okada has lost to Jay White enough. He's gonna get his win back in, I believe, the first time ever the IWGP Heavyweight Championship will change hands on North American soil. So a historic event may be ending with a historic finish. So that is my recap of the G1 Supercard show. When I first ran down the lineup a few weeks ago, it was good. Maybe not as good as people thought it was, but now that the card is finalized, everything's kind of fallen into place. This show is definitely going to be fantastic. I mean, I'm looking forward to that Naito Ibushi match. Zack Sabre Jr. Tanahashi should be fun. The Triple Threat Junior match is going to be fantastic. Honestly, a big test for Jay White to see what Jay White can do. The Cow Palace show that I attended last year was kind of his coming out party of him being a super over heel, especially in the American market. We're going to see what he can do here in New York City. I think Jay White's going to be just booed out the building. Maybe some, ironic cheers from some smart fans out there, but I think Okada's going to be by far the over babyface in the situation. And giving Okada that victory going forward, Okada has another, maybe not historic title reign like he had a few years ago, but I think Okada having it again, and maybe that's how we get to Naito versus Okada Dominion. Maybe we somewhere in the fall, and then maybe we can get Naito versus Ibushi for the championship at Wrestle Kingdom. So should be a fun weekend and stuff like that. So let's just jump into the NXT television report. We have 3 shows to get into, but as I said, not a lot of stuff happened in terms of a number of things. So this show was the show right after the turn of I would say the breakup of DIY. Tommaso Ciampa going to turn on Johnny Gargano, but Johnny Gargano saw it coming and he threw him into the thing. So this is the show after that, and the news came out that Tommaso Ciampa had to get neck surgery. As I said on the Bulletcast, I highly recommend you guys check out the WWE PC YouTube channel that has about a 12-minute video on Tommaso Ciampa and his kind of journey. I mean, it's mainly his journey through NXT and his career up to that point, but also him going in for surgery and him talking about his family and all that other stuff. So the show starts off with Triple H holding the NXT Championship. He kind of puts over Tommaso Ciampa, and basically Ciampa was characterized as a babyface this entire promo. Yes, he's done some dastardly things, but in this promo, Triple H really put over Tommaso Ciampa, so making him a really sympathetic figure. So that's why Ciampa coming back, I think in a year, he's going to have to come back babyface unless if he just turns on Gargano again. I mean, I don't know how you turn Ciampa heel after all this stuff and having his knee surgery, shoulder surgeries, neck surgery, all this other stuff, and now he's coming back. And I think he has to at least start off as a babyface, but then you can turn him heel later on down the line. So, Triple H announced that there's going to be a fatal 5-way to determine the other challenger for the NXT Championship. Obviously, Johnny Gargano is going to be the other challenger, and of course, you know who it is. He announced it's going to be Adam Cole, Ricochet, Aleister Black, the North American Champion Velveteen Dream, and Matt Riddle in that match. And whoever wins is going to face Gargano in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And stuff like that. So, Kathy Kelly is outside talking she's outside of the men's dressing room, and Kona Reeves comes out, and Kona Reeves gives his thoughts, and then the Forgotten Sons come out. So not a lot of stuff, just kind of milling around, a lot of hype packages about this NXT Championship match. So basically, all 5 competitors cut little promos on the matter and giving us reasons why they would win. In the show, there was an interview with Tommaso Ciampa, basically kind of showing a little bit of what the video I'm talking about on YouTube in its entirety. So little clips of that is shown on here, him going into the what is it called? I don't even know. He's in the hospital and he's getting surgery, and they're showing all that other stuff. And so Adam Cole gets to talk. Kathy Kelly's backstage, talks to Kairi and Io Shirai. They're boosting up their fatal 4-way match going into Takeover, and this is the only match on the card. Adam Cole, Ricochet, Velveteen Dream, Riddle, and Black, and Adam Cole, baby, wins it in 14 minutes and 44 seconds. The match was fun, but it was kind of... I wouldn't say it was a cluster. It was kind of a spot fest. I mean, this is kind of the problem with these fatal 5-way, fatal 4-way matches. There's just so much moving parts, and it's just kind of hard for the wrestlers to get into a flow and tell a nice story. Everyone got to get their spots in, and they're put in a tough position. I will give them that this whole thing was obviously building towards Gargano and Ciampa, and they have to pull to call an audible, and they gave it to Cole. Makes sense. Riddle and Dream were obviously on the fast track to take over to have a match for the North American Championship. Ricochet and Black are already in the Dusty Rhodes finals at this point, so Adam Cole was kind of the odd man out, and it was pretty much apparent that Cole was going to be the one to win, unless if someone was going to pull double duty or something like that. So it just kind of was a foregone conclusion that Adam Cole was going to win. Nice finishing sequence. Ricochet, I believe, hit the 540, and he was pinning Riddle, and Adam Cole comes up from behind, hits Ricochet with a last shot, and gets the victory. So, I mean, Riddle kind of did get a whatchamacallit, kind of a pseudo pin. He was kind of pseudo pinned there. Something you haven't actually seen him. He has lost, I believe. He's lost this match. So I think this was Matt Riddle's first official loss on NXT. So that's also something to kind of keep an eye on. So moving forward, we have the March 27th episode of NXT, and this one was built around obviously coming off the heels of Adam Cole winning the Fatal 5-Way match. So they start off the show with the NXT Championship in the middle of the ring, and Adam Cole comes out, and then Johnny Gargano comes out, and they go back and forth and cut promos back and forth, and I love this promo, especially from Gargano. I thought this is the main reason why I picked Johnny Gargano to win the championship at NXT TakeOver, is because he just ran down his entire history. He talked about how he's come close. He's Johnny Takeover and blah, blah, blah. And he, his entire career, his entire life has come down to this moment. And maybe it's not against the person who he wanted to face, but it doesn't matter who's in his way of achieving his dream. He is going to become the NXT champion. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like just give the title to Gargano. He doesn't have to have an Okada reign with it. He can have it for a few months, maybe even longer than what his North American Championship reign was, but in the end, back and forth from both guys. Definitely good heel work from Cole here. He's just kind of smarmy. No Undisputed Era behind him, so it's just Cole. He did kind of insinuate that it is 2 out of 3 falls, and he does have his boys behind him, and he has nobody. So Cole definitely playing up that he has the numbers advantage. But for the most part, fantastic job. Great babyface work. And, I mean, Gargano is one of the best babyfaces of this generation, I would say. He's kind of put up there. I mean, with NXT, they've had such great, white meat baby faces like Bayley and Sami Zayn, and just guys who you just want to get behind because they're just lovable, and you just believe in them, and they're wholesome, but not in a corny way. It's just, they're good people, and you want to see them win, and that we just don't really see enough of that in wrestling. And NXT has done a good job of protecting those characters and keeping them on the right track. Then when they go to the WWE, as I said, Bayley and Sami Zayn, not exactly played up, has been booked the best way. But we have a women's tag team match with Lacey Lane and Casey Catanzaro going up against Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah. And it was pretty much a short match. The entire point of this match was just to get the 4 horsewomen to come out and beat down the 4 women. I mean, all 4 of these women are pretty green. Not a whole lot of action, but I thought Casey Catanzaro did show some impressive moves and some spots in the little moment that she did have. So Shafir, Duke, and Baszler come out, and they basically clear the ring. She puts them down in a Karafuda clutch. Baszler was about to leave, and then she goes to the announcer's booth, yells at Percy Watson, and says that this will keep happening, and blah, 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 blah. So they show Aleister Black and Ricochet warming up, and Matt Riddle is next, going up against Kona Reeves. So Kona Reeves goes and loses to Matt Riddle in only 3 minutes and 50 seconds, but the story of the match is in the middle of the match, Velveteen Dream's music hits, and he gets rolled out on this plush purple couch with smoke going around him, and he has these two women pushing his chair out onto the stage while Dream is laying down in like a crop top and holding a chalice, and I think he was wearing a crown. But just a fantastic visual, kind of the most, Prince-esque Velveteen Dream things we've seen in a while. It's kind of almost a throwback to kind of the origins of Velveteen Dream. Like, yes, he still does like the seductive, wiggles and talk and stuff, but we haven't really seen him do like things like this. Kind of like it almost like maybe the last time we really saw something like this was his feud he had with EC3, where they had like that kind of weird segment in the pool in the hotel area. But he was out there to distract Riddle. Riddle was distracted momentarily, where Reeves kind of got the upper hand, but in the end, Riddle got him in his little clutch and hit him with the elbows and put him in the bro mission for the tap out victory. So after the match, Dream talks to Riddle. He announced Riddle as the winner, and Riddle walks up the ramp, takes Dream's chalice, and takes a drink. He throws it on the ground, and Dream asked one of the women to go pick it up, and Riddle took the mic and said that he's going to see the Dream in New York, bro. So, straightforward, simple build. I mean, it's two over-the-top characters, and maybe I'm looking forward to this match the most. It could be a shocker. It could be really good. It could be a downer. Who exactly knows? But, as I said, NXT TakeOver is going to be fantastic. So we have the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We have Aleister Black and Ricochet going up against the Forgotten Sons, which is Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler, alongside with Jackson Riker. So, this match lasted 14 minutes and 25 seconds with Black and Ricochet getting the victory. The first 10 minutes, I would say, of this match were kind of blah. It was just kind of what I've been saying about the Forgotten Sons. They're just kind of there. I mean, they're the Forgotten Sons, so it's very easy to forget about them. They haven't really shown that they're a top-tier act, and they were in a prominent spot here, and they didn't really show up. I thought Black and Ricochet definitely carried that last 5 minutes of the match to make it good. I would say kind of exciting. With the Forgotten Sons, I said it, they are a heel faction, so you can a heel trio, because I know Philip gets angry when you call three people a faction or whatever you call them. But anyways, I digress. The Forgotten Sons, they're a heel group, so you can say, okay, maybe they're just going to go up against the War Raiders just because it's a heel, and straight up heel babyface, but no, they give it to Aleister Black and Ricochet, which I think was the right move, but because I think looking back, when we're going back through past winners, I think if the Forgotten Sons were to win, they might be like an outlier and kind of a weird, why did the Forgotten Sons win? Because we have, Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, we have the Authors of Pain, we have Undisputed Era, so we have, top tier, at least with Aleister Black and Ricochet, as well as Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, top tier acts, top tier singles guys, and the Authors of Pain ran roughshod on NXT TV, and unfortunately haven't exactly seen the same success on WWE with some injuries and just the way WWE books their talent. So, good on NXT, giving Aleister Black and Ricochet the victory. I think it was definitely deserved, even though I don't like saying that, but I think it was the right pick between these two teams to be the champion. So, after the match, the War Raiders come out, and there's confetti coming down, the Dusty Cup is in the middle of the ring, and the War Raiders come down, they have a little face-to-face, and that is the end of the show. So, finally, we have the go-home show of NXT TV on April 3rd, 2019. Just happened yesterday. Not a whole lot of happenings, a lot of matches, but also a lot of video packages. So first off, we have the War Raiders, Hanson and Rowe, going up against some jobbers. They dispose of them in about a minute. Post-match, they cut a short promo demanding more opponents, and then they get Caesar Bonani, or Bonani, I don't even know how to say it, against Adrian Jaude. Another quick squash match, and the War Raiders beat them in 1 minute and 20 seconds. So, I mean, pretty straightforward. We haven't seen a whole lot of the War Raiders. I don't even know if they've had a match since TakeOver Phoenix. So, we haven't seen the War Raiders a whole lot. It is the week before TakeOver, so I thought it was nice to get them on the show. A little heelish, but they were just straightforward badasses, so... this is kind of the reason why I just think the War Raiders are going to win on TakeOver, just because they haven't done a whole lot with them. Ricochet and Black are going up to the main roster. I don't see a reason why you take the belt off the War Raiders when you haven't done anything with them. They haven't really done anything, like literally anything, since winning the Tag Team Championships. So, going on... we have some video packages on the NXT UK Championship match with Pete Dunne and Walter. So I thought that was a nice touch to kind of show the NXT audience, because I'm one of those people who watches NXT every single week, but I just don't have time to watch the NXT UK product. So I thought this was a nice little refresher and kind of up to speed on what's been going on NXT UK and why this match is going on and blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, I believe that the exact same video package is probably going to play right before the match on a TakeOver. So we go back, not backstage, but in the parking lot of Full Sail with the interview with Candice LeRae, and she talked about how she was excited for the Johnny Gargano's match for the NXT Championship, but she said she also was excited to watch the women's match because she wants to get a title shot. And creeping up behind her was Aaliyah and Vanessa Bourne, and they came out and just kind of talked trash and said that she's going to be a failure just like her husband. And LeRae said she wants to earn a title shot, and she's going to start by beating up Aaliyah. So Aaliyah was not very happy with those comments, and she scampered off. And so in 2 weeks, we're going to get Aaliyah versus Candice LeRae, as well as a plethora of other matches that will be announced later. So we have Oney Lorcan going up against Jackson Riker, and Jackson Riker wins in 5 minutes and 25 seconds. It's kind of a slow-paced match, plodding, hard to watch at times. Jackson Riker, maybe the weakest out of the three Forgotten Sons, which isn't saying a whole lot, but I mean, there's a reason why he was on the outside while the other two wrestlers were wrestling in the Dusty Cup. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense why this match was even on the show, because it has no connection to NXT TakeOver, so this match could have just been taken out altogether. It took up a lot of time. I mean, 5 minutes and 20 seconds on an NXT show that's only an hour. That's a lot of time to take up, and I just don't understand why they did this, just because there's no reason for them to have this match. No storyline reason, no reason in terms of TakeOver connection. Oney Lorcan is on 205 Live now, so that's probably the reason why he lost. So anyways, kind of a down point for this show. We do a flashback to the announcement of Triple H talking about the Tommaso Ciampa and having to vacate his championship, and they run a video package on Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. I thought it was very well done. It was very sports-like. Both men being shown training at the gym, lifting weights, running, and all that other good fun stuff, talking about how they are going to win and why they're going to win and all. Just random stuff that you would see in a normal UFC, wrestling, any type of sport. You would see this when it's a one-on-one competition or even team sports of just talking about people trying to get better and win the championship. So we get a video package on the North American Championship with Velveteen Dream and Matt Riddle. So as I said, a lot of video packages on this show. We flash back to 5 weeks ago when Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic fought to a double countout. And then we also go back to the angle where they get into a little altercation at the Performance Center. Triple H said on a conference call last week that their match was delayed for something out of their control, but did not elaborate. So Keith Lee had his own little press conference, and he said that he was first in line at Mr. Regal's office, and in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever he said, in 2 weeks, Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee will have a match. So another match that was announced. So sorry. Next week is going to be Candice LeRae versus Aaliyah, and also next week is going to be the Street Profits versus the European Union. So that's going to be the pre-show for NXT Takeover. So it's going to be the show the week after Takeover or next week, but it's still going to be in Brooklyn. So the main event is Kairi Sane against Bianca Belair, and this match ended up being a no contest at 8 minutes and 25 seconds because, as you'd expect, while the match was going on, the four horsewomen come out and attack both women, and that's how it ended in a no contest. And they go back and forth, they brawl a little bit. Io Shirai runs in to even up the odds, and Bianca Belair not explicitly teaming up with Kairi Sane and Io to fight off the four horsewomen, but at the end, everyone was laid out, and Io goes to the top rope, does a dive, and everyone's down. And Io takes the championship, holds onto it, raises it up above her head, clutches it, and that is how the show ends. So Io Shirai standing tall, and I thought it was kind of maybe not a weak final episode, but I mean not a whole lot of actual movement in terms of forwarding of storylines. A lot of good technical stuff. I mean, the video packages I loved, but for me, I've seen every single show. I don't exactly need all these video packages to get hyped up, especially since these video packages are probably just going to get recycled and thrown on the NXT TakeOver show. So, kind of a run-of-the-mill show, maybe even kind of a downer in terms of a go-home show. So, maybe not something you need to watch, but it is what it is. So, when it comes to the reality shows, I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I mean, we've already gone 40 minutes. It's been long. We'll talk about it later. I mean, the Bella Twins, they have a podcast now. I listen to that because I listen to these things so you guys don't have to. So maybe next week, after all the fallout, and we have kind of the lull after WrestleMania, we can get back into talking about the Total Bellas season finale and the mid-season premiere of the Ms. and Mrs. So thank y'all very much for listening. Hope y'all have a fantastic WrestleMania weekend. Go out, get all the wrestling that you guys can desire. So much good stuff out there. So much for so many different people, so many different tastes. So and definitely go out of your way. Watch NXT TakeOver, watch G1 Supercard. Those are the two that I think you definitely have to watch. And until next time, till next week, goodbye and good night. Bang.